So motivation is a really big thing, and I think that a lot of people are struggling with motivation now more than ever. And if you really think about some of the basic tenets of motivation, like goal setting, having realistic expectations, and setting yourself up for success, those are really the things that we still need to focus on for motivation. It's just getting more creative about how to play these things out during a pandemic or when we have less opportunity to interact socially. We don't have as much access to different resources that we're used to. So goal setting is still huge for motivation. And there's an acronym that I really like to use that I learned from Dr. Laurie Santos in the Science of Wellbeing MOOC course through Yale called WOOP, W-O-O-P. And basically for this, you use the W as a wish. So you think about this wish of achieving this goal and really just getting as specific as you can about what you want the outcome to look like. And then the first O is outcome. So visualizing that, right? Really using your imagination to picture, what does it look like when I achieve this goal? How am I going to feel? How am I going to carry myself? Where am I going to be? What is this going to let me obtain? So outcome. The second O is for obstacle. So always thinking about what are the barriers that are going to pop up during my plan to achieve my goal that I'm going to have to overcome. So being realistic and thinking your way through those obstacles. And then the P is for plan. So using some if-then scenarios to overcome those obstacles that we just outlined. So if this obstacle pops up, then I'm going to engage in this type of behavior to overcome it. So WOOP for goal setting: wish, outcome, obstacle, and plan. Another really good way to stay motivated is just to make sure that you have really realistic expectations, and you might need to reset those. So thinking about what your goals are, what your expected achievement is for those goals, and if it is way more than you can handle right now, again, engaging in some kindness, some self-compassion, and adjusting those and making them maybe a little bit simpler, maybe having less goals, just making sure that they're obtainable for you right now. And then the last one is situation support. This is really thinking about setting yourself up for success. So if your goal is to engage in exercise for 30 minutes every day, but you don't exercise at all, really thinking about what is something you can realistically do for 30 minutes every day, and then creating an environment that really supports that. So if you want to take a walk for 30 minutes every day, then maybe you have a pet that you want to take with you as a companion and as a motivator to go out and actually do it, because the pet's going to enjoy it too. Or maybe you set your walking shoes or your running shoes next to your door so that when you get home, you see them and you realize, I need to take my walk today because it's really good for my mental health. You could apply this to so many different goals. If you're trying to make sure that you are on top of your school assignments or your work assignments, having situation support such as using planners, maybe some type of vision board that has like really positive sayings that give you some confidence to engage in those activities every day. So just thinking about how you can set things up in your environment to lead you to successfully creating or obtaining your goals and having more motivation in your life. Routine is so important for everybody. Our brains are wired to have routine. So our minds and our bodies just really crave routines. Having routines let us know what to expect and how to prepare for it. So having a routine, whether it's just like your daily get ready in the morning routine, or your routine of how you interact with people throughout the day, your routine of accomplishing your tasks, your routines of doing things that you enjoy and bring you happiness. Having those routines built in every day are very important for everyone's functioning. In order to stay motivated, once you have developed some behaviors that help you maintain your motivation, in order to keep that going, it's really important to focus on all of the things that we've been talking about so far in the previous videos, such as having that positive mindset, recognizing if you might be having some mental health struggles and different things that you can do to improve your mental health. Goal setting, and then, obviously focusing on safety, because I think that fear is very debilitating. And as long as we are following safety procedures during a pandemic, you are going to have more confidence about going about your routines, maybe having in-person classes, engaging socially with more people more frequently. So safety, as well as the other things that we've talked about so far. One thing that I definitely encourage everyone to do to help maintain motivation, positive mindset, and positive mental health is to really rely on your resources. So for students, your teachers are really great resources. During online learning, if you're engaging in virtual learning, teachers understand that we are all in different places right now. And so reaching out to communicate with your teachers is really important if you're struggling, letting them know what's going on with you, that you might need some extra time, that you're not really getting the content, that you just need some extra help. Teachers are humans too. They are struggling just as much as students are right now. So I really think that communicating with your teachers is a really good resource to tap into. Also, if you feel like that you are struggling with mental health and positivity, reach out to your counselors. They have a lot of good resources that they can get you in connection with as well. Some other things that you can do to kind of keep motivated is, again, just doing things that you love and that interest you. So maybe that's joining a club. Maybe that's just talking to family or friends about all of the things that we're covering. We also have a lot of resources in the district. So I will say that, we have a National Youth Advocacy Program therapist here at GRC that sees students. So if you feel like that you need a little bit more support beyond the people that are in your life that support you now, we could definitely get you connected with our NIAT therapist here at GRC. New Vista is another mental health agency in the community, and they are actually leading some virtual wellness groups that anyone can join for free. So you can go to their website, which is newvista.org, and they are going to have several free online sessions where you can learn about and talk to other people about dispelling COVID myths, coping with burnout, and different self-care steps that you can engage in. One other thing that I want to mention that I think is really interesting and applicable to young adolescents and early adults is a podcast that I just listened to by Brene Brown, who has a podcast called Unlocking Us. And episode 21 covers a book that was published by Dr. Emily Nagoski. And her sister are interviewed on this podcast. And it's all about burnout and how the stress cycle affects our bodies, and how this is a cycle that we have to move through when we are feeling stress, when we are feeling strong emotions, when we are feeling overwhelmed. And the podcast is about an hour, and it is extremely helpful in just understanding the stress response. I think that as humans, once we know that what we're going through is normal and that everybody experiences this stress response at one time or another, it makes it easier to accept and understand that this is something that just happens and that we have to figure out how to move through. And Doctors Nagoski give some really good tips in the podcast. And then again, they have a book that I think every late teen, early adult should read, because it covers a lot of things that are applicable to your life and how to overcome burnout and stress and how to cope with that. So lots of resources out there. One other way to stay motivated is to really think about, what is your why? Like what is the reason you're doing what you're doing? And yes, a lot of us might say, well, we have to attend school. The law says we have to be in school at this age. However, thinking about the meaning and the purpose of what you're doing. So even if you feel like that this chemistry activity is never going to help you in your theater production job that you're going to have as an adult, just know that that chemistry activity is going to get you to a high school diploma, which is going to allow you to apply for college, which is going to let you live out your dream. So really thinking about what is your why and finding meaning and purpose in all of the small tasks that you do every day. Another thing that's really important for motivation is seeking out flow. And flow is that really positive, energetic experience that you have when you're in the zone, when you're doing something that you like and that you're pretty good at. So, you hear about like a runner's high, or when, artists are really working hard and not distracted and creating some of the most beautiful work that they've created. Those are flow. And everyone can achieve flow. You can achieve flow just by gardening, by writing a paper, by completing algebra problems, if you enjoy it and if you are good at it to some degree. So finding that type of flow and incorporating it into your everyday work. So you may not be able to find flow with everything that you do, but if you can find flow in something that you do on a regular basis, that is going to help your positivity and motivation to continue working hard. And then the last thing that I would like to mention about motivation is really trying to incorporate an element of play into your work. So again, this may not be something that you can add to every single thing that you do every day, but finding something that just truly taps into like your inner child, thinking back, like when I was a child, what were some things that I did that just brought me pure joy? So maybe, it was an activity that you did with your family, or maybe it was a certain game that you played that you just always were so excited to do. Really tapping into that feeling, remembering that feeling, and trying to draw that out in your daily life somehow. So it's really about maybe trying new things, being vulnerable, taking risks, learning how to have some humility instead of getting embarrassed. So just being courageous and not fearing failure. So really trying to figure out how to do some new things to create a really positive element of joy in your life that takes you back to how you felt when you were a kid. So to kind of wrap it up, thinking about how to stay motivated, let's focus on safety. Let's use our resources. Let's think about what is our why, try to seek out some flow, and bring a little bit of that play from your childhood into your everyday life.